for joining. So yeah, it's kind of my first time to actually talk about certain topic, which is relationships. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that you are aware of the word relationship, and you might have been gone through some uh, types of relationships that you can define for yourself. But yeah, we will dive deep into uh, some aspects of the relationship. Relationship is a very big, vast topic. So yeah, before going to that, um yeah, a little bit about myself. I am uh, pretty much, as you can see, there are some smileys present on the flyer. I am uh, f- a photographer, works as a senior consultant, and in an IT software side. I read a lot of books, and I'm a painter. Recently, I figured out with one of my friend that I can paint too, and I am a drummer learning keyboard into music. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I like trekking. I like sunrises in the beach and sunsets at the mountains, and I like bridges, uh, particularly in the nights. And I'm a little bit into cooking also nowadays because of this lockdown. Uh, yeah, so just yeah, it's okay if you want to unmute yourself, want to share and uh, talk in between. No worries on that. So just giving a brief introduction, my intention for giving this uh, talk on relationships is it might help you to understand what are the dynamics of relationships in various aspects, maybe uh, with the person that you're talking to, or getting related to, or getting connected to. So like Helen Keller said, that the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen, heard, or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Once such thing which should always be felt with the heart is relationships. That's a vast thing that one should experience themselves in their own way, in their individualistic way. And there is nothing as a framework that you should be following a certain generalized way or path in following the relationships. So just moving further, I'm assuming that you're audible.
Yes, you are.
Like you are audible? Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you for confirming that. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, and man, it's not me only, it's not the one-way communication that I'm trying here. You can interact during the session. And yeah, so what do you think about relationship? What are the first thing that comes in your mind when you think about relationship, on how you can define a relationship?
Two people.
Pardon?
Two people.
Two people, okay. Then
Or things.
two people or things, okay. Then okay, there's someone in the chat.
Mike says, oh, two-way communication.
Two-way communication, good. That's great. So how do you say that two people are in a relationship? What are the keywords that you feel that we both are in a relationship? Just
Love.
okay, that's a good one.
That's
Yeah,
main one.
that's main one, but yeah, that's main one which I'm not going to touch today.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good one. Yeah, that's the main thing that you should find yourself first to get into any relationship, for the matter, any that you're talking to any person. Comfort level, yes. Yeah. So I have gone through certain dictionaries and gone through certain books and found four keywords which uh, which can be relevant. So these are the four keywords that you can put yourself in a relationship, whether you're related, how you're related to that person, how you're affiliated to that person, connection that you have between the two people, and the association that you have between these two people. With that being said, so the definition of relationship is the way in which people feel and behave with each other. So that is the primary thing. So even though you're not related legally or as an entity with the other person, maybe the other person might not be a father, the person might not be a brother or a sister, the other person can even be a stranger, but it depends on the way in which you behave with the other person. So that is also relationship. Okay, yeah. Okay, I have a monitor here which I'm looking at, so please don't mind if I don't look at the camera. So I have a laptop which is having an external monitor, so I'm just looking at the monitor and uh, explaining and displaying the screen. Okay. Yeah. So the definition for the definition of relationship. So this is one thing where the other person feels and behaves with each other. The second one is how the people are connected. The way in which the people are connected. That actually defines the type of relationship or the relationship that you have with the other person. And the third thing, which is actually interesting, which I found myself, the state of being related. So some people, though without the consent of the other person, they find themselves in a state that they are in related to that person. So this is one aspect which I found myself, um, and I realized that there have been times in my life that I have been in this state that I was related to the person without the consent of the person. Sometimes we don't meet the person, like a fan of a hero, like you're admiring a heroine or an actor. So that actually defines that is the state of being related to that person. Okay. Now, so this is one typical man's mindset whenever uh, he thinks off the way that he should be thinking, just for the sake of as an icebreaker for fun. I'm just putting this to understand. So yeah, so man, sometimes some men considers women as hazardous material. Like you can see that the element is woman, there is a symbol, the discoverer is Adam, atomic mass is between around 45 to 225 kg, which is actual and expected to be 55 kg, etc. There are some physical properties that every person defines that how a woman should be and how they treat the woman in their minds, which is actually sad. So you can see here uh, how they treat women. They treat the woman as an ornamental. If they have a huge car, they need someone to occupy the seat beside them, and they treat that person the same way. Uh, and also, in some places, actually, this kind of attitude actually leads in the days to come that the person tends to fall in a state where he abuses the people, where he uses domestic violence on the person. And this is not only gender biased or gender specific. Even the women can also tend to uh, get into that stage or get into that uh, uh, pit where they are helpless and they don't even realize that they're in such kind of situation, and then they consider any woman or any man with the same intention that all men are the same, all women are the same. They tend to generalize certain things because of the experiences that they have or have gone through their life in the past. So one more, just for the sake of traction. So this is one which actually is funny. So to find a woman, you need time and money. Therefore, woman is equal to time and money, and time is money. So time is equal to money. Therefore, woman is equal to money into money, and that makes woman is equal to money square. So money is the root of all problems. Again, money becomes the square root of problems, and therefore, money is equal to square root of all problems, whole square, and then woman is equal to problem. So most of the times, people with such kind of mindset, they tend to find ways to justify what they think is right. So if you think that women are actually a carrier of problems, they are always in the mindset that, uh, yeah, no matter what, I'll twist every equation, I'll twist every situation to make it true, make it possible that women are always problems. I'm not just specific. It's specific. I'm not specifying or specific gender, but it's the same with women also. They tend to generalize that all men are the same. Uh, just think and ponder on this topic, and we'll go deep into. Give me a second. Okay. So when it comes to the gender differences, this is for you. So when it comes to the gender differences, what can you think of as a girl and as a guy? What can you think of? So this is open to you. I am opening my chat. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. So yeah, is anybody in the chat? Okay.
What are we supposed to do?
When it comes to gender differences between man and woman, what can you think of? What can you think of? What are the gender differences? How does a man think, or how does a man uh, 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 do stuff, and how does a woman think, and how does a woman do stuff? So such kind of differences, anything that you have in your mind.
Physical weakness
Hmm. Physical
of
weakness.
women. Compared to men, women find they are weak physically.
Okay. Physical weakness. And anyone else?
Single taskers and multitaskers.
Okay, you mean to say that,
One work at a time.
okay, man does one work at a time, and women are multitaskers, right?
Zoya says emotional levels.
Hmm. Women are more emotional. Does that mean women are more emotional?
Mike says man thinks with head, woman thinks with heart.
Oh, that's a good one.
Think.
Okay. What else? What else can you think of? From
I
my
think
side, man's brain has compartments, and women is like a ball of yarn. Compartments like a rack of drawers or something like that. or you can say spherical. So this is my point, my thought. Can be true or cannot be true. Any other things that you have in your mind that distinguish man from woman in terms of thoughts and
Men are more analytical.
hmm, analytical and logical? But I think that I don't agree with this because I find more women as
With
analytical too.
more.
Okay, fine. And women are more emotional, that we already mentioned. Uh, Women think with emotions, men think with logic, right? Hmm.
Ignorance. Women are way ignorant than men.
That ignorance comes with the lack of knowledge. So it depends on the person. If you're not seeking knowledge, then obviously any person can be ignorant. It's not gender specific. Okay. Yeah, this is just for the sake of brainstorming. You can think more differences, the way they fight, the way they argue, etc., etc. So just for the sake of moving further, so how many of you have been in a relationship? I think there are something in the chat.
Really? I think this goes unsaid, but yeah.
Mhm.
Sure.
Have been in a relationship and yeah, what not. So how do you consider yourself in a relationship? Breakups. There are some reactions on the channel. I think so.
Yeah.
You can use that to raise your hand or give a thumbs up. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So before I go into how to find a person or what are healthy relationships, etc., let me go into something which is something which you should not do, which is kind of a toxic in a relationship, which is actually the red flags in the relationships. Okay, so that is the main thing that anybody should know to avoid uh, a lot of speed breakers or a lot of halts in your way. So I'm just give me a second. Yeah, how do you recognize a toxic relationship? I think you might have gone through the survey that Chrysolite has shared. So most of the questions are related to something which actually puts you down or some things which actually discounts you in terms of a person or discounts you in terms of your the way you relate or your personality. So how do you think that you recognize a toxic relationship? There are some uh, pretty much very important red flags which actually helps you recognize a complete no to that person in your life. Okay, so do you have anything from your side that you can think of?
Yeah. Some relationships goes on ignorance mainly.
You mean to say the ignorance of the other person?
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to know the other person and understand them better, but you fail to understand them better. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Another way, in
Hmm.
some relationship, in being in relationships, sometimes we ignore other person. We can't answer them properly, or we avoid them
Hmm.
sometimes.
Okay.
Maybe it's a barrier.
Okay. So just because you're ignoring the other person, you have to leave the person? Yeah. So there are certain things that, yeah, even if you ignore the person, it might be of various things that the person might be busy or the person might
Yeah.
be in a depressed state, or maybe little moody, or kind of irritability is
Yes.
there in that person. But is that the reason that you want to recognize that it is a toxic relationship, that you want to leave that person and you need to get rid of that person in your mind? Okay, so
Hello.
yeah, please go ahead. Okay, so moving further.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, please
Can I
tell me.
speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel if you're compromising on our happiness for the partner, I feel that's a point when your relationship turns to be toxic.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm just rephrasing what Zoya has mentioned. Yeah, of course, compromising on the partner, but compromising with the self, compromising in the sense that you lose your self identity, compromising in the sense that you lose your self esteem or your confidence. Or, I mean, if I am a drummer, so if the person wants me to stop playing drums, then that means uh, I am compromising with the other person, right? So when it comes to relationships, always we appreciate the differences and we acknowledge the similarities. These two words are pretty much very important. We appreciate the differences and we acknowledge the similarities. A lot of people fail to do that. We criticize the differences because we don't find the other person as yourself. We tell them that you're not my types, you're different, I can't handle you, I can't cope up with your emotions or with your logic, etc., etc. Yeah, I think Deepthi has raised a hand.
That's surely, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's for when you asked anybody in a relationship.
Okay, fine, great. So yeah, there are certain things which can be found in a person in a psychological way, that if the person is having this kind of characteristics, you better stay away from this person. And the first thing is chronic anger. Now, anger is a very uh, natural thing. When you find someone doing something which is not pleasing to you, or if you're caring for the other person very much, you show your anger. That's the natural thing. But when there is anger just to control the other person, just to put the other person down, and you are insisting your ways or implanting your ways into the other person by the tool of anger, that is called chronic anger. So anger
Mm.
doesn't come from some blow ups or irritability or moodiness just
Yes.
because of depression or anxiety. But if the other person uses anger to control the other person, then that is called chronic anger. If you find someone having chronic anger to control you, then that's a red flag.
Mm. Mm. Misunderstanding
Yeah. So misunderstanding, yes,
between the partners. Misunderstanding between the partners, like they are listening the rumors from the other friends, like this. I think.
hmm yeah, that
Mm.
also can be a red flag. But yeah, if you sit and talk to the other person in a subtle way, and in an explaining yourself that those rumors are not right, or this is what they meant, this is what has happened, I think you can set up things right with the other person.
They can't spend time with their partners. It's also one of the red flag of breakup. Hello.
Okay.
Mm.
Spending time with the other partners.
Other partner.
Mhm.
They are listening the Rumors like her partner with another person relationship like this.
Okay. Hmm.
Mm, okay.
Okay.
Lack of communication,
Lack of communication. Yes. Hmm.
not able to forgive when you
Hmm.
have fights or arguments.
Hmm. Okay.
Ego problem. Ego problem.
Ego problem. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. So I can understand that there are so many things that actually uh, makes the relationship not go uh, to the next level, to the next day, per se. But if the person has some of topics which I am mentioning here, please,
Mature.
yeah, avoid those persons because they need to heal themselves. They need to get healed from the type of qualities or traits that they have inside of them, which actually influence you a lot in the later stage. Because, for example, if my father is having chronic anger, if my father uses anger as a tool to control me, then in the later stage, what my thinking will be is that that is natural, which actually is not. Then I tend to attract people who have chronic anger, and I behave myself with chronic anger, and I treat people with chronic anger, and I don't realize that it's a flaw in me, that it's a fault with me. That actually is a red flag for you to stay away from this person. Of course, we have misunderstandings, we have ego problems, but when you tend to understand the other person in a better
Mm,
way, from with an open hand, open heart, then obviously you can sit and uh, talk and move further in the relationship. But if you have chronic anger, definitely not suggestible uh, to go ahead with the relationship.
maturity levels also.
Okay. And we have chronic sarcasm. This is also a similar type of anger, chronic anger. But in this, you control the other person. Pardon? Yeah. In this, you tend to control the other person with a different type of anger, but it is with a sarcastic laugh. So you use a disguised form of anger, not showing the anger on the person, but you're trying to control the person with a sarcastic laugh, which is actually chronic sarcasm. And the next one is disparaging humor. So we tend to use um, certain things to hurt people, to actually control that person, to put that person down. So these three things, these three traits are similar and have a very thin line between each other. And the intention of these three qualities is only to control the person. And if the person is trying to control you, it's a no. We are made as different individuals. We are made with different capabilities, different traits, different dreams, and we have our own uh, 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 goals and ambitions to achieve. So, person should not control you to actually make his things work through you. Okay. So when it comes to good humor, the person is always cheerful. He should be in good spirits. He's a merry person. He should be polite, enjoyable, pleasant, agreeable to the one's liking, pleasing, willing to be ready to agree, amiable, friendly, and sociable, etc., etc. Yeah, TV Reddy has raised his hand. Any questions?
He's just joined, so I think you can ignore and move on.
Okay, fine, thank you. So disparaging humor is a combination of wit, which is actually good to make fun and enjoy, but when the wit is combined with bitterness, bitterness in the sense that you are trying to put someone down in a joking way, then stay away from that person. That's not good for you, that's not healthy for you, because in the long run it actually imbibes or confides in you to change yourself, accept such people, and find something wrong as right. Okay. The next one, yeah. So when it comes to bullying, what are the types that you can think of? This is just for you to think on different types of bullying. We can see it in families, we can see it in colleges, we can see it in people around, that they try to bully others. Okay. Do you have any types of bullying you can think of? I leave it up to you. You can think of all the types of bullying. Yeah. The fourth one is punitive mindset. So this is one typical attitude of a person which actually uh, doesn't admit their wrongs. So the, the actual meaning of a punitive mindset is actual meaning of a punitive mindset is just I'm giving you an example. So if I blow up at you, if I had a fight with you and I call you this and that, and then you get upset, and then I say, well, sorry, I hurt your feelings. But I also say that you pushed my buttons. You shouldn't have pushed my buttons. You shouldn't have made me angry. It's because of you I have got angry. This kind of mindset, uh, where I am not giving an apology, what I am really saying is, I don't like you to get upset, but you deserve my wrath to being stupid. Okay. Feeling this kind of feeling that people deserve what you're trying to give them, the bad things that happen because of you is because they deserve. This kind of mindset is called punitive mindset. So when you do something wrong, it's always good to apologize, say a sorry where you actually mean it. But if you're saying with a reason that it's because of you that I got angry, and because of you I am getting all the BP, my sugar levels are increasing, my BP levels is increasing, then yeah, you have a punitive mindset. You have to work on that. That is absolutely not right. Okay. And then you have controlling nature. And controlling nature in the sense, if I say that, I say to the girl that, suppose I tell you, I don't think you look good in purple. And then I see you out somewhere wearing purple. And I get angry. Because after all, you really cared about me. If you really care about me, then you wouldn't wear purple, right? Because I told you, you don't look good in it. And then because I told you, the girl thinks about me and says that I'm sorry, I won't wear purple again. And she goes back to the closet. So whenever she wears any dress, she measures herself and she's cautious about herself to choose a dress which is not purple. She is actually thinking a lot in choosing the dress so that she wants to impress me. That is controlling nature. The nature of you controlling the other person on what to wear or what to do, what not to do, even when it is irrelevant, that's controlling nature. And then we have excessive insecurity. In excessive insecurity, the other person feels so much insecure, so he always keeps checking on you. What are you doing? Where are you? Where have you been? Why are you so late? You didn't text me. You didn't talk to me all the day. What have you been doing? So these are the things that the person keeps on poking you to he thinks that he's showing a lot of care, but actually he's not. He is insecure. Stay away from these persons. Okay. Next one is extremely opinionated. This seems like it is fabricated with the word opinionated, but actually they are judgmental. They judge anything that comes in their way. They give in a word. Extremely opinionated. And then we have the manipulator. So in manipulator, we have okay, just a chat here. So in manipulator, if I say a lot of if then statements, okay, in my language, if I say if then, if you really care about me, then you will do this. If you really like me, then you would have done this. So if there is a lot of if then statements in my language, then you can consider him as a manipulator. Okay, and then if the person is highly self-centered, that is one aspect that you need to that is one aspect that you need to think whether you want to be with that person or you want to get rid of that person. The 10th one is always on the offense side. The person is always wanted to quarrel. The person always wanted to put his point on the top. Doesn't uh, having a mind to give you value. So that is, so what if you're already involved in a toxic relationship? Do you find yourself with any of these characteristics, or do you find someone with any of these characteristics that you need to get rid of? Okay, if you grew up around someone who did these kind of things, you may find yourself being attracted to similar people even though you don't like their behavior. So eventually you become like them. Eventually you attract uh, similar people in your life, and you always be with that person, which is actually toxic for you and your mind. Even objectionable behavior can feel familiar and comfortable at some level. So you come to a stage where such kind of objectionable behavior you will consider it as normal, and you get familiar with that behavior and you feel comfortable being with that person. Okay, any questions till now? Hello, someone in the chat. Hello.
Yep, I think we're good. You can go ahead.
Okay. And now we will talk about, let me see.
Is everything all right?
Yeah, because of the so many videos, I'm unable to see my screen. Okay. The next topic which I'm going to discuss is how to break up gracefully. Has anybody uh, had a breakup anytime? Okay. I mean, it's very difficult for you to answer. So yeah. So 10 principles for breaking up gracefully. Always do it in person. If possible, do not do it in public unless they did something totally out of line. Like if they did some crazy stuff, like breaking your car or breaking your bike or something like that. So if you have any respect for them at all, then always do it in person. Of course, it is very hard to do it in person to actually gain trust, whether the person who is right in front of you, whether you can trust him or not. Yeah, it's hard, but being in public makes the person feel limited to express themselves, whether it'll be final words or whether it'll be any hard words, dishware words, but always do it in person so that that's the right way to do it. Yeah, never make a scene and keep your talk to a minimum. Yeah, feeling distraught is okay. Being torn apart from the inside out is fine and expected. But wishing fiery hell and brimstone into your ex, you have a lot of mixed emotions, feeling the urge to dismantle their life and everything they hold dear piece by piece isn't totally out of the ordinary either. Okay, so but any attempt to do so is going to just make you look like a child throwing a tantrum. So don't stretch the talk to make a scene. Control yourself. Grieve, of course, and express your pain, but don't do anything stupid. Do it in private and do it with someone you trust. Do not try to make the other person feel better, because breakup is not a good thing. So this goes particularly for the dumper who is dumping. Once the relationship is served, the other person's emotions are no longer your responsibility. And not only is it no longer your responsibility, it helps them cope, but comforting them will actually make them feel worse, because it conveys a meaning that you're actually happy of breaking up. It also can backfire in that uh, it will just make them resent so you for being so nice, so while dumping them. They're crying and saying how much they're going to miss you. You hug them to make them feel better, but don't. You start getting upset because you wish things could have worked, but this is for the better.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you mean don't make them feel better? Can you give some statements? Statement like, oh, you deserve the best. You have someone better. Is that making them feel better?
Yeah, so the moment any one of the person thinks that he or she needs to break up, that is an indication that it's not good for each other. Okay, so I mean, actually, it is actually best for the other person, because the, for example, the guy and the girl are in a relationship, and the guy comes and tells the girl that it won't work out. I am sorry. I need to move on. I don't think so that this is the right thing to do. Now the girl is upset. She's distressed with a
Sir,
lot
I
of
have
stuff.
one question.
Yeah.
People, why are not following truth nowadays?
Mhm. Truth what?
People, why are not following truth nowadays?
What
What do
is
you
truth?
mean by
What do you
truth?
mean by truth?
Sorry.
Truth.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah,
mean
what
by
do you mean
truth?
by truth?
Sorry.
Please explain, sir.
We didn't understand your question. What do you mean by truth?
Hello? What do you mean by truth? Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, so in that case, the woman is so distressed, and uh, uh, so so do you think that the woman, after the man gets finds himself not relevant to be with this woman, do you think that woman should still be with that person who doesn't have clarity, or who doesn't have uh, such kind of emotional connection with this person? Do you still think? Actually, I feel that the woman is safe if the guy says that uh, I'm sorry, I can't go further. So in that perspective,
Now, my question is,
Mhm.
what did you mean when you said don't make the other person feel better?
Yeah, like see, when the meaning of other person feeling better, what I meant is in some cases where the guy will tell, okay, I am sorry, don't don't think bad, it's not because of you, it is because of me. I am not clear. There is a long conversation that the guy or the girl tries to explain to actually make the other person feel better. It can be it can be in a way that how to say, it can be in a way, um, I'm sorry, I think I'm lost, just finding some words. Yeah, it can be in a way that yeah, we can still be friends, we can still be friends, we can talk to each other, but I don't think so this will move further. If those are the words that you find, yeah, in any way, whether the other person feel better or not, the relationship breakup is a good thing. But if you think you should not make the other person feel better, if you think that whether you should do it or not, then yeah, the reason why we say that don't do it is because it creates a trauma in the person. Okay, if you make the other person feel better that it's okay and continue with the person, maybe kind of a friendship or etc etc, it creates a trauma in the other person that they might end up, all the relationship are like this, all the guys are like this, all the girls are like this. So to avoid such things, breaking up in a graceful way is the best thing.
Um,
So,
Mouni, so I think to answer her question, I mean, maybe
mhm,
that's my opinion. I think it's like to make the person, because you were saying that there are many things that make a couple or two people to break up. So
mhm,
if one of them decides to do that and there is a past of certain type of behavior, I
mhm,
don't want to make that person feel in a position of like, never made a mistake. I mean, I think it's a sense of awareness. So don't make the situation softer or the
right.
situation like better for the other person, because both of us, I mean,
Mhm,
we have to be in the same page that, look, there were some things, there was a certain type of behavior that led me, for example, to take the decision to break up with you. So I guess this is like, it's a sense of consciousness. You have to
mhm,
be conscious that you did something wrong. So there is no smoothing up of those situations. That's just reality. Maybe
yes,
that's what, I mean, it's just keeping it real. Don't
yes,
just keeping it smooth or soft for the other person,
mhm.
just for the sake of whatever the person drama the person is making. But I mean, keep it real, I guess.
Yeah, totally agree. Thanks, Janet, for sharing that. Yeah. So like Janet said, so it's that's how it should be. Okay, so after the breakup, respectfully cut all the contact for a short period of time so that you both will find yourself in a better place. So this is the second thing that many people don't muster the courage to do. They always tend to go back to communicate to the person they broke up with. So a lot of people get hung up on the remaining friends and actually force contact when it's causing them more emotional stress. Okay, it is known that people who limit contact with one another emotionally recover much faster. Not only is it totally reasonable to refrain from speaking or seeing each other for a period of time, but it's healthy. The more contact you're in, the more risk you run of setting off an emotional time bomb, relapsing, and ending up in that messy no man's land. But we are definitely not the boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean, you tend to again rephrase to get back into the relationship again and again. Okay, I'm going to call really quick and check in, but seriously, we are not together. Why are you looking at me like that? So these kinds of wordings and statements actually gives an emotional stress on both the people. The person who is using these words, I am still your friend, you can talk to me like before, and etc etc. So yeah, so always it's good to actually cut the contact for a short period of time. And yeah, this is with respect on the other person, because breakup is not a small thing. The other person has to undergo and you have to undergo, and we need to get healed by a lot of things in our mind and heart. Okay, then next one. So talk to somebody about it. So once you have a breakup and you're feeling that sense of uh, a state where you're in a no man's land, then this is one. This one may seem obvious, but make sure you do it. If this is a particularly a serious relationship, talk to a trusted friend or a family member before making the decision, and then take whatever advice they give you seriously. Uh, we are often poor observers of our own relationships, but when it comes to our friends, they can see us how it's affecting us better than we are actually looking at it. Okay, and allow yourself to be sad, angry, upset, but don't judge or blame anyone. This is your situation and you're facing it. The such kind of emotions which are sad, angry, and upset are healthy and normal. But if you're having that attitude to blame someone, because of that person I had the breakup, because of that person, because of that situation which happened, that is the reason she broke up with me or he broke up with me. This kind of my negative emotions are not good. But however, being sad, angry, and upset are normal, but don't try to judge and blame other people. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't distinguish good or bad behavior or good or bad choices. You can research on your mind and find whether it is a good behavior or bad behavior, whether it's a good choice or a bad choice. But it's always good to learn from your errors and what went wrong in your relationship. uh, Thinking about that will go a long way to help you move on. Okay. Seventh one is recognize that the breakup itself is a sign of your incompatibility and you're both better off. People who just go out of relationship and lament that he and I were perfect together or she and I were perfect together, obviously you weren't. Otherwise, you still be together. It's important to remind oneself that you broke up for a reason, and often that reason is a very good reason. And for those of you still holding on that one special someone months or years later, please stop. Don't build an emotional bond with that person because you're it's good for you. If they were right for you, they would have realized it by now. So you're deluding yourself. So move on. Eighth one is invest in yourself, find new hobbies. And the longer you spend in a romantic relationship, the more your sense of identity melts in there. So don't get into that. Being together with someone is in such an intimate space for so long creates a third, which is actually overlapping your psychological entity that comprises both you and them. So this happens in almost every relationship. If any girl or a guy wants to uh, uh, contribute to the relationship so that the relationship works well, so they tend to understand both the person's mind, and they find and they create a new physical psychological entity which is common for both of them. And okay, this is the common thinking entity where it is a compromising thing for the guy and the girl. So suddenly, after a breakup, this entity is gone. This entity is dead. And that leaves you with a painful situation where you find yourself, I mean, you tend to lose yourself. So that's the reason you again come back to your psychological entity, which is your brain, which is your mind, and try to work on your mind. Try to uh, find a hobby, go on a trip, go for a trekking, go for a long trip, maybe to the hillside or somewhere. Then you can put in all the words why it has not worked, and find yourself the reasons, and improve on yourself. This is why the best and most important post breakup advice is invest in rebuilding your personal identity. Okay, rediscover your old hobbies, focus double on work, start that new project you've been putting off for months, and most of all, spend time with your friends. Your friends will not only reassure you and make you feel better in the moment, but they will also help you reinforce your own personal identity again. Friendship is the best medicine for heartbreak. And for some people, the friends can be family members. So whoever is close to you, stick to them. Only start dating again when you're legitimately excited to. A lot of people break up and enter a rebound period. So this is very important, where they immediately tend to find the person for a rebound after they have a breakup, where they're immediately back on market and throwing themselves at the first thing that comes by. They might be using some dating apps, they might be using some Tinder or Happen or Bumble Date, etc., etc. The problem is this is more of a coping mechanism, that genuine enthusiasm for the new people once meeting. So you lose that. You lose the genuine enthusiasm, but you create a coping mechanism with the other person, and there is no legitimate thing that you want to know about the person that you meet, etc., etc. So you can tell, because the new connections you make feel complicated and lacking, because you, after a breakup, you carry the baggage with you. Unless you get rid of the baggage, the emotional baggage, or the psychological baggage, you can't meet the other person. Anxiety and depression come back with a vengeance, and overall, the process of meeting someone new is far less enjoyable. After you break, contact and invest in yourself. Don't pressure yourself to meet someone new until you're legitimately excited. Um, to do it, there's a difference between excitement and desperation. Desperation is a feeling, is feeling alone and incomplete without dating someone, like you need to be with someone to be happy. Excitement is being genuinely excited to discover what's out there and feeling fine regardless of what happens. So that actually opens your heart and door for the new person to enter, and you tend to put your mind and thoughts to accept the other person the way they are. So because when you're excited to meet new people and are in a good place emotionally, you're far more attractive anyway. It's worth it. Okay, and only attempt to be friends with your ex again once you're over the idea of dating them. Some people have the admirable goal of remaining friends with their ex. Other people have the admirable goal of crushing the knees of their ex. Whatever the goal you for your future relations with your ex, the need to happen organically. Forcing a relationship enters into testy territory, as it can make the other person feel obligated to you, and that can kick up a lot of the negative feelings left over from the breakup.
I have a question.
If
When
you
you
had,
say after breakup, how much time do you suggest that we leave for the next relationship?
yeah, it depends on the person. I have known some people who immediately recover in a day or two, or maybe a week. I've known people who have not been recovered in years. It depends on the person, and the emotional bond that they have with the person, and the psychological bond that they have with the person. If you are in a relationship for say 10 years and you want to come out of the relationship, then obviously it takes time. If you're in a relationship with a person for say a month or so, then I don't think so. You depends on the psychological thing and the things that you share in common, your memories. To get rid of all those things, it takes time, and it depends on person to person.
Okay, when you say recover, what do you mean by recover?
The meaning
What are
of
the aspects that one should recover from?
yeah, one thing is uh, uh, yeah, I will cover that in the detoxification in quickly. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah. Mhm. So yeah, so the next one is yeah, if you want to get back into the breakup relationship, yeah, you can. Here is the deal. If you get back together after a breakup, I mean, you can mend it, you can stick it, you can glue it. If it is once, yeah, it's more possible. Uh, uh, there are examples where people have realized the other person with time, with distance, may it be emotional distance, may it be physical distance, but yeah, it will definitely work sometimes. But if the breaking is consistent, if the breaking happens in a continuous way where uh, 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 there are multiple pieces that needs to be sticked together to again get back to the normal relationship. If that is the case, then don't be into that situation. So yeah, think multiple times to get out of this emotional boom or the cycle of breaking up again and again with the same person. Then it's always better to recognize that in the first place and come out of that situation. Okay. Give me a second.
Okay.
If you have any questions, anybody?
Yeah, should we take some questions and then maybe go
Mhm.
to detoxification?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, so any of the participants, do you have any questions? It can be anything that we didn't discuss, discussed, or anything.
And anything you want to know, any suggestion?
Hi, bro.
Hi. Just let me
In my opinion, breakup is for only silly reasons, like their parents are
Mhm.
not accepting, and the astrology is not matching with our name, and
Okay.
some and in nowadays there is no relationship truly.
Mhm.
You are saying the recovery period of the person
Sorry, your voice is
after
breaking.
recovery the person recovery after his breakup. um,
Uh-huh.
you are saying the person recovery with after breakup, the person okay, the person break up with their ex because of silly reasons, like
Mhm.
they didn't come to the outside, they can't spend with us time, and they didn't give priority for us, and
Uh-huh.
some other silly reasons.
Mhm.
After physical after physical
A
after
physical
physical
relationship, yeah, physical
after physical
intimacy.
okay, after after physical relationship they are leaving the girl or boy. They got
Uh-huh.
in my in some relationship the person they, after breakup they are addicted to the drugs and
Mhm.
drinks like that, and the girl
Mhm.
also girl will live freely and married the another boy.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Good one. Yeah. That's the thing. So
uh,
yeah. So
I
there are.
okay,
Mhm.
okay, say.
Go ahead. Yeah.
In my opinion, don't trust anyone, like because no one is true and no one is trusted. Your trust yourself. The person after breakup, they are addicted to drugs. Beyond that,
Mhm.
addicted to drugs, they keep that same interest on your body, make
Mhm.
make it perfect, and your job
Mhm.
make you better, make you better, and show your status to them
Mhm.
who lived you.
Ah, perfect. That's the best way. I appreciate that, Shivakumar. Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, what Shivakumar has mentioned so whenever we see just I'm rephrasing what he's thinking. So whenever a guy or girl gets a breakup, um, I mean it can be any reason, but as I say that it's always a good reason to break up with a person who is actually not willing to be with you. So if the girl breaks up, the guy again uh, maybe stalking on the girl, what she's doing, how happy she is without him. If these are the things, then yeah, I don't encourage such things because, like Shivakuma has said, you need to concentrate on uh, building yourself, building your personality. Don't get addicted to drugs and lose your identity. That's what I've mentioned. Don't lose your identity. Work on your personal identity to actually uh, find yourself. What are the mistakes that you have done which actually led this relationship into a breakup? So if you find yourself, then obviously in the later stage, you might find yourself in actually fulfilling the best way possible in another relationship. Do you have anybody has? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Hmm.
Is breakup, why is breakup totally necessarily confined to a boy, a man and a woman, not as in a family member which you want to, let go of? Why not? Because the topic here is we are talking about relationships, necessarily not be a man and a woman or a
Yeah,
husband and a wife.
definitely.
Uh, if we want to really cut ties with any of a family relative or family member, why can't we do that?
Hmm.
As in, we do with the people we make a choice with, like we choose them.
Yeah, yeah.
As family members are inbuilt relationships, they are not made by choice, as we choose a person
Hmm.
outside from outside.
Right,
Just give
right.
a explanation regarding that.
Yeah, yeah. So this I will explain during the detox slides. Okay. Okay. So yeah, moving further with the detox. Yeah. So whenever you're looking for detoxification of such breakups and toxic relationships, always take a break from the interaction with the other person. Don't communicate with the other person. Give them some time, give yourself some time. You need to find out what actually is bothering the relationship. Note it down. A pen and paper is always a good thing that you can do. You find a journal and write down what are the things that actually created some questions in your mind, created some distress in your mind, uh, which actually created a confusion in your mind. So how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this relationship? How do you feel about the breakup? When you're away from the person, how much do you miss him? How much do you miss her? Write it down. What do you miss about the person? Whether it's a good thing. If you're constantly thinking about the bad things of the person, then yeah, you have to rethink. If you're thinking about, okay, this is the things which I've missed in her. I if these are the things I have missed in him. He's good at this. He's good at. She's good at this. So find yourself. Write it down. Here you're getting some clarity on the negatives and positives of a relationship. When you're writing this down, you'll find yourself what you're attracted to, what you're liking in the other person. Okay, what you're not liking in the other person. This is something that you need to work on. So there are multiple ways that you can take a break. Some people do meditation. Some people read a book. Some I've seen people continuously reading books for months, for years. finding maybe self help genre. Some people continuously listen to songs to get a break and come out of the interaction. Some people go on trips to Ladakh, Leh, and Dehradun, Mussoorie, Shimla, whatnot. You can also go to Pune for visiting all the forts there. Yeah, it all depends on how you take this and find yourself. Exploring yourself is always a good thing. You're constantly exploring yourself, what you are, how you uh, can increase your personality, increase your behavior and character, etc. So look at your contribution towards the relationship breakup. Okay, what are you doing to keep the drama going? Are you picking up fights with your partner and provoking him to lose it? Are you treating your mom the same way she treats you to just to get back at her? I mean, we can see these things in family also. We treat the same way the parents treat us. Uh, Understand the role you're playing in this dynamic. Uh, so, are you pouring fuel to the fire, or are you backing up to get hurt from the fire? I mean, tongue. It's said that tongue is like a fire. So, control your tongue, control your words. Don't be quick to anger. Don't be quick to quarrels and fights. Think and calm down and slow down. And third thing is set healthy boundaries. Set up boundaries whether you're starting a relationship, whether you're breaking up from a relationship. It's time to put you. It's time for you to put yourself and you draw your needs first. The concept of self-care is important here, and it also takes a kind of discipline. What you need to do, what are your aspirations, what are your ambitions, what is your purpose for life, etc., etc. So give yourself some space to focus on your own well-being, and then create emotional distance. uh, Create the emotional distance from the other person. So this is really the key to disentangling the toxic relationships. Think about how much closeness is necessary. Is this person your spouse? Is this person in your life? If so, you should get professional help, because if they are a family member, if they are uh, 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 a married person, if he or she is your spouse, then you need to go to a counselor, because uh, from a counselor mind you will understand your differences, you will understand your similarities, and you will try to accept both of them, and uh, try to know how to behave in the future. Okay, next is practicing
I have a question.
mindfulness. Think. Yeah, please go ahead.
How do we create emotional boundary and what are the healthy boundaries?
That's good. That's a good question. So yeah, so emotional boundaries is very hard to create, especially when you're in just after the breakup, the post breakup situation. That is the reason we encourage you to be with your friends. Friends actually help you to find yourself. They suggest you what mistakes that you have done, or because they have been with you for quite some time. And even family also, they have been with you for all these years. They will help you. I mean, they can't bring you out of this emotional state. I just remember suddenly it came into my mind in the movie called Arjun Reddy. You can see the grandmother saying to the other person about suffering. Suffering is good. Let him suffer, but he will find himself. So this kind of attitude towards the other person, helping the other person suffer, being sad, help allowing the other person being in the state of upset. But what they expect is that they will recover from this emotional state as quickly as possible. So emotional boundaries are only can be set when you come out of that situation. If you are unable to come out of the situation, you can't set emotional boundaries. So when it comes to emotional boundaries, then you tend to uh, 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 when you once you find what are the mistakes, what didn't work, what has worked, then you can uh, draw certain emotional boundaries. Okay, this is this person I should be away from. This is not uh, to this level I can't go. So these can be done only after that.
But so in that case, how does this aspect of emotional boundary while you're still in that unstable situation help you?
Yeah. So like I said, friends helps, and then more than friends, self exploration is always good. So that's when you principle yourself to set boundaries to your emotions. You have controlled emotions on yourself, uh, and you can be mindful of things when they are getting out of hand. So these things will come eventually when you find what exactly the mistake that you have done, what exactly the mistake that the other person have done. So it's kind of an analysis on you, but it doesn't happen on an overnight. It takes time. It takes discipline to actually analyze on yourself, on the other person, on people, etc., etc.
Okay, so there's a follow-up question. Um so when you say professional counseling, professional help or counseling, would you want to throw some light on who a counselor is? Because a lot of us have a taboo with this term called as counselor. So,
Mhm. Yeah, counselor is someone who is more mature than you are, who has seen uh, people facing the same situation that you are in, and they can try to help you. I mean, the end of if it is a couple, they will try to help you understand each other better. They will try to help you uh, analyze what exactly the other person thinks and what exactly both of you should be thinking in the days to come. But if it is a single person, they will help you try to come out of uh, uh, state of being broken, your state of being uh, uh, in the state, in the place of no man's land, where you find nobody else except you. So they will guide you on step by step measures on maybe on your daily routine, how you need to engage in yourself, whom to meet, whom not to meet, where you need to go. All such things can be counseled by a professional. Even in some families, you can find the father being a counselor, you can find a mother being a counselor. It's not specific, but most of the cases children tend to have a hesitation to talk these things to their parents or in the family. In such cases, you can meet a counselor who is a stranger. I mean, it doesn't affect anybody or any of the other relationships. So yeah, it's safe. I know that it's a taboo. It keeps your self-esteem down, but after you come out of this, it actually increases your confidence, increases your self-esteem, and it actually builds you, your personality traits, and it helps you be in healthy relationships further down the line in the rest of your life. Okay.
okay. So I just add something over here. So if you're looking for counselors and if you need some professional help, we know an amazing organization called as Person to Person. Get in touch with one of us and we will give you the contacts. They are extremely good at it and they do not charge. And it's just not about relationships, on any other aspects also. Thank you.
Yeah. Person to person is an amazing organization. Um I mean, whatever you have, it can be regarding relationships. It can be regarding any sense of trauma that you're undergoing, or any sense of personality disorders that you're undergoing. Yeah, they will tend to listen to you. They will understand you, and they will counsel you in a better way. So even if it is an abusive relationship or domestic violence, etc., you can get that. Okay. Yeah. So coming back to the practice of the mindfulness, think. So whenever you think of these things, then when you're getting into another relationship, you will be mindful what to do and what not to do, right? Okay, reconnect with your tribe. Yeah, like I've already said, connect with your relationship, other relationships, which are friends, family, etc. And that is one best way to get healed. And the last one is getting help. So in this, I think Minnie has asked a question earlier. Minnie, can you?
It's not a question. It's okay. The earlier question. Okay, sure.
Yeah, earlier question. So this is the time. Can you again ask the question, Minnie? You are in mute.
Is breakup confined only to a man and a woman, like a love relationship or a marital relationship necessarily, or is it confined even to family members or relatives, as in you can cut ties with them? Why does it have to be confined to choice, a relationship made of choice rather than an inbuilt relationship?
Yeah, when it comes to relationships, we have different types. For example, the relationships given by God, which are the family, parents, etc., and whatever. So second one is the relationships which we choose, which is the friends and colleagues, etc. And third one is again which we choose is the dating, or uh, the person which we are looking for a longer relationship in marriage, etc. And the fourth one is marriage, which we actually find someone and get in a committed and covenant relationship with the person for the rest of their life. So in this, family is a hard pill to swallow, uh, because that's given by God. All other things you can immediately quit from them. You can choose to move on. You can for marriages you have divorce, and for dating you have breakups. But for family, it's a hard pill to swallow. I can understand. But there are toxic relationships in family too. We have a lot of broken families that we can see. The husband, the father and mother are always in some kind of trauma, some kind of traumatic psychological situation where the father is always showing chronic anger, the mother is always bearing the chronic anger. So there are situations where you can see that which actually impacts the children in certain cases. For such children, down the line, they tend to attract the people, the same people. They tend to familiarize with the same kind of nature, and they tend to become like them some places. They tend to become like their father, or they tend to become like their mother, like their father showing more chronic anger, or like their mother bearing more chronic anger. So in such cases, it's always get a counselor. That is straightforward. Get a counselor. You need a counselor to actually come out of that. And if you're a Christian, I would always say get a biblical counselor. Get a person who is strong with biblical notions and biblical principles, which actually helps you come out of that situation. Okay.
I have a question.
Mhm.
How long should you be stuck with your ex? Like, in the sense, maybe
Okay.
to go further to accept new. I mean, how long should you be hopeful that the other person is going to come back into your life?
Okay. Yes, this is a very good question. So there is something which you need to understand. Uh, Relationship is always variable. Relationship is always variable. There is no absolute in relationship. The only absolute relationship is with God. With God, the relationship is, even though you go to God after 10 years, it will be the same acceptance that you get from Him. Okay? Unless it is God, all other relationships are variable.
Even mothers.
Yeah, even mothers, even mothers.
I
So,
would differ there. I mean,
yeah,
mothers.
yeah, I didn't finish it.
Yeah, so I
So,
mean the sense in the terms of mother. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
so, yeah, so every person tends to hold this variability in the relationship to make it constant. That's when you are striving to move from a variable relationship to an absolute relationship. So mothers, at one stage, they are variable because they are trying to understand you as a child. They are trying to find where your likes are, where your dislikes are. At one point of time, she comes to a stage that she is directly related to you as an absolute. Recently, I have seen a movie called Maharshi. There is a character where the mother is waiting in the bus stop for the son. For every day she comes to the bus stop, she looks for the son whether he has landed from the bus or not. So when you see the picture of a mother waiting for the same for son, whatever he might have done, the same thing you can see in the life of the prodigal son. The father is waiting for the son. Okay, so in these situations, these are absolute relationships. Your what no matter what the other person has done, what the other person has behaved, these absolute relationships are the best relationships. So it is not a one sided always. Sometimes it can be one sided, but always when it comes to relationships like spouse and marriage, you should hold that variability. Suppose today is a 10 and tomorrow it's going to 8 or 9, and then day after tomorrow it's going to 4 or 5. So it's going from one point to another, maybe decreasing or increasing. There is a variability. If you're trying to keep up that variability to an absolute, like you're showing the same love every single day, you're trying to convey the same kind of emotion every single day, you're holding the relationship, and you're putting a lot of effort to hold that relationship to make it into absolute. And there is a movie called Up, which is an animation movie. I don't know whether you have seen that or not. In that movie, uh, it's completely absolute relationship. Whether the men they got married, the guy and the girl, they got married, and even after marriage, he is self-sufficient. He is content with what he has. Even the person left him, he is accepting the reality and he's cherishing the memories that he has. There is a song in the movie which says, I want to grow old with you, I want to die lying in your arms. So uh, it, that is absolute relationships. So that is the reason that we have a small commandment in the Bible. If you're divorced, don't marry. That is the reason. So if you have an absolute relationship with the person, don't marry. I mean, you will make yourself not to get married further. If you are not having an absolute relationship, if you are having a toxic relationship, variable relationship, find someone who actually, yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, how long do you wait for the other person to return?
I don't have an answer.
How long are you hoping that the other person is going to return? I mean, is that a healthy relationship? Can it be categorized as a toxic?
No, it depends on you. So, are you satisfied with the person not being in your life, whether you're content or not? It lives. If you're content, then it's okay. If the person comes back, it's fine. If the person doesn't come back, it's fine. It always you're accepting the other person as they are, and you're agreeing to. Uh,
No, my question is, how long do you wait? I mean, how how long is too long? And I know people that keep waiting for somebody to return into their life so that they can have a future. So
it
can
depends on person to person. Yeah, as I said, for some people, okay, I'll wait till they get married. For some people, even if they get married, they'll still be
yeah, so
waiting
can
for
that
them. I mean,
person be categorized as, I mean, it can't be relationship,
mhm.
but inclining towards a negative, I don't know what's that called, but because it's only with one person, but maybe inclining, maybe not so healthy relationship or not a healthy behavior.
Excuse me, I have a question for you. Like, what do you mean? You mean after the breakup and the person still waits for the dude or the girl to come back? That's what you mean?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so this person, I mean, this wasn't a breakup for this person, right? Because I believe that okay, we need to get. I mean, that's what I understand from it. If you're still hoping that the person will come back, then you haven't moved on at all. You haven't considered your life on your own. And the point, I guess, for breakup is that you find yourself, you discover yourself, and you find. I mean, it's the point of finding out that life doesn't necessarily depend on that person for you to live. Because if you depend fully on the other person to live, then that's just not life, I guess.
Beautiful.
thanks,
Can
Janet, for yeah.
a breakup be a mistake? Like as she explained, waiting for the person to return in the sense, could it be a mistake? Like if they patch up together later, could it be a mistake in any
See,
case?
first of all, breakup is always for a good reason, even if it's a mistake. Okay, when it comes to the mistake, whether it is the other person or yourself, your it depends whether you're trying to correct that mistake or whether you're going to run away from that mistake. If you're trying to correct a mistake, then you give some time for that things to mend up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the time she has been asking,
Oh, okay.
I think.
I
Thank
don't
you,
have an
Sharon.
answer.
But because, yeah, you might not have an answer because from person to person, each
Yeah,
personality, each intensity of the person being emotionally attached to that person differs from person to person.
yeah.
I
So
might be attached very deeply, or the other person might not be. So it might differ.
it depends. Like I said, some people are in a relationship for 10 years, and
But
some
is it
people are.
okay to wait?
What are you waiting for, girl?
See, this has nothing to do with me. I'm just
No,
asking.
I mean, no, I mean in general. In general, what are you
I don't
waiting
have an
for?
answer.
I deal with a lot of
In
people.
general,
Yeah,
that's
I
what
deal
I
with a
mean.
lot
In
of people.
general, what are you waiting for? Because I mean, it. If you are stuck so bad, I think if you acknowledge that you're so stuck, I mean, how that's just my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion. I think if I am really dependent on someone, either if it's okay, so I'm an African, right? I was created, my mom, I don't know if you know African moms, but they create us in a way that you feel either it's a male or female, the child must feel um They create us in a way that we are ready to deal with the world. So my mom used to say that a lot of times, that you were not born attached to anyone, because at least my mom is my friend, so I'm able to have these talks with her. You were not born attached with someone, and if you kind of get to a point of a breakup, then something went wrong. If you both decided that you wanted to break up, something went wrong, someone hurt someone. And if you are in a position that, although you tried, you've done maybe counseling, you try to self-discover and, build your self-confidence, and still you are not able to move on, girl. I mean, it's just, for me, it just shows how toxically you are dependent from another person. And I think it's not like selfish, but just be some type of self-dependent, I guess, I believe.
Yeah. So if I can add, being that person where I'm stuck, I may not realize I'm stuck because I'm expecting that this person completes me and this person makes me the best, and I'm still waiting for my best to be with me to make me whole. So I may not realize that I am in a toxic relationship. I may not realize that that this is bad, but I am expecting that this person is the only person that can make me the best.
Okay. Let me rephrase that. So.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So, first thing is, everybody is made whole. That is, I just wanted to correct that. Everybody is made whole. Everybody is complete by themselves. If you doesn't recognize this, you're not ready for a relationship. Okay. Everybody is created by God as a whole individual human being, and you have your own views, thoughts, brain, heart, whatnot, whatever you have. When you're okay, I'll just put on this slide as well. Okay, just give me a second. So when you're thinking of relationships, yeah, go ahead.
If a person is made whole, then why there would be a chance for relationships? Why would there be a necessity for relationships?
Yeah, so the reason for relationships is everybody wants somebody for various aspects of their life, for, like, say, emotional support, for, say, some physical support, etc.
As in to share.
Yeah, as in to share. So everybody can be so they needs a sense of belongingness to someone. Okay. It's a mutual support and help that you get from each other. So when God created man and woman, women has been given the role of a helper, but then it's a mutual help from each other at different roles.
Don't you think when God created man, he found man incomplete and made a woman?
Yeah. He found man complete, and then he found that it is as good, and then it is not good for a man to be alone. He needs something helper.
I'm sorry. Can I just?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're gonna go, I mean, just to say that socially, humanity or human beings, I mean, naturally we are social, so we have to create a net to survive, to live. We have to be social. We have to meet other people, and even for the sake of humanity, for procreation and stuff like that. So if we go to the start of it all, I mean, Adam was he. I mean, God didn't say that it's not okay for a man to be alone. Right when He created Adam, Adam had to grow. Adam had tasks in the Eden garden, I guess. He had tasks, naming the animals and knowing God, getting into in a Christian perspective, that is knowing God and knowing himself, discovering God, being a friend of God, growing in maturity level, I mean, in relationship with God, then God said, it's not okay for a man. I mean, it's okay for a man should have a partner, someone to accompany him, and that's when he created Eve, I guess in English, Eve. So it wasn't out of the blue, like still in the beginning when he said, okay, let's create. So once we create Adam, we are creating Eve as well. It was after a point of self-growth, making multiple tasks, and getting a relationship with God and all of that. And that's when the complete term get in, because I guess we have to. That's also my opinion. We have to get to a point that I feel complete to share. I can't share when I'm vain. I can't share anything when I'm vain, when I don't have anything to share. So if I want to share my love with someone, I want to share my feelings with someone. I have to have feelings. I have to know myself. I have to know myself enough to be able to share with someone. That's what I think.
Don't you think when God created Adam, as in he felt incomplete and created Eve, as my brother said? No, as I said, and he rephrased it. Why does Adam have to feel like me? Why does he have to feel complete, or maybe why does he need another person to not be alone? He has God. He has animals to kill the time. He has plans. He has many things. Why woman?
Okay, so can I just wanna know something. Can I talk in a Christian perspective? Is it okay?
Yeah, you can. I mean,
Yeah.
Chrysolite, is it okay to talk?
The topic
Okay.
is going way beyond, I guess. Better we should stick to
Yeah,
relationships.
that's why I was asking. Can I talk in a Christian perspective, because I don't know how many groups we have here of people.
Okay, better we do it
You're
later.
you're in mute, Chrysolite.
Sorry. I said once we finish with Mouni, then maybe we can go ahead with the other
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah, I am.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks for that. So yeah, so I think we pretty much answered some of the questions. There are some questions which are there in the chat. I'll just quickly mention those. Great insights. Okay. In any relationship, don't dig the past incidents and don't blame one another. Then everything will be in a good state. Shared by Pramod. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, so in any relationship, don't dig into the past incidents, leave behind the past, look for the better future. Like we usually say that, are you still stuck up in the bitterness, or are you looking for betterness? This is very important, that if you're going into any relationship, to think again and again, leave behind the bitterness, no vengeance, no grudges, etc., and no blaming. Move ahead with the betterness in mind and for self-improvement. So Mike has asked me, have you ever gone through counseling through friend or family? Mike, I don't have any secrets with my family. So always my family, I mean, the God-given family has been
Nana,
always been.
his question
Yeah.
was, were you ever counseled either by a family member or by a friend?
Yeah. So when it comes to family and friends, I am always an open to kind of an open book. All my
Open
friends
book.
know about my, yeah. So that's my sister who's, yeah, witnessing me. And regarding counseling, yes, I have undergone counseling through some from some of the church members in Coimbatore and in Pune as well. Um
And at home as well.
Yeah, and at home as well. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, definitely counseling helped me a lot to actually come out of. I mean, not just come out of a lot of things, but to actually find the bad personality traits in me and to work on it. And it didn't come overnight. It took a lot of time to actually remove a lot of things which genetically I inherited from some of my family members. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I'm still working on it. And yeah, thanks for asking that question, Mike. And Shivakumar is telling, don't be too emotional with your partner when she is. Okay, good. Yeah. So whenever, if you're with a woman, if she's emotional, give the support. Don't be emotional, of course, but support is always appreciated. That's why you are there. Okay, any person.
Um,
Financial support as well. That is always been a part of the relationship. I mean, if you are married and in a committed and covenant relationship, definitely that is part of that. Okay. Yeah. So when you're yeah till now we have seen the breakups, toxic relationships, how to detox yourself. But what exactly are we looking in a relationship? How we actually need to be ready for ourselves? Always one thing you have to keep in mind: don't choose for the right person, try to become the right person. That is very important. Whoever comes in your life, if you're wanting to see them or date them, always find yourself trying to be uh, 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 available to change or be acceptable to change. Eventually you end up as an interesting person to the person you are with. So that is one thing. And another thing is yeah, so uh, interesting. Yeah, let me show you one slide.
um, are you done? Should we take more questions?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Questions, I'm open to questions.
Yeah, so any of the participants, do you have any further questions? Most of you are like very silent.
Okay, if you don't have any questions,
Sure.
I think I'm done.
Uh, are we done or you still have something else?
Yeah, I can go on. It's a big topic, but yeah, just highlighting three things. Always be a good listener, and second one is integrity and continuous communication. Always is the best. Uh, Let me show you. Yeah, integrity and communication, continuous communication, which actually builds trust. So these three, I mean, we have a lot of things to discuss, but yeah, we can end
I have a
here.
question. Talking
Mhm.
about integrity, um, is it uh, is it advisable to share with your current person about all of your past?
No,
Okay.
why I say no is, what do you get from that? There are
Integrity.
two ways. There are two ways in sharing. Okay,
Uh-huh.
are you sharing the past and what do you want to convey, or are you sharing the values?
Mhm.
Always share the values that you have learned from the past instead of sharing the past. It doesn't affect sharing a past. What does it do? You can write a book. You can write a book and it will go into a large number of sales. But sharing values is more important. So this is what I've learned from the past.
But don't you think so? Unless and until we share our past, um, Like we are not being sincere. We might not be sincere. The other person might not take it that way that we are sincere or not.
Yeah, and he gets
If
even
the other,
yes.
if the other person,
Guess one
I
of
think,
your other mic is open.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm having an echo.
okay, yeah.
let me
So
mute.
the other person is not is like insisting you to share the past, then if it is me, I won't choose to be with that person.
Not everybody is you.
As the reason why I don't choose to be with that person is, one thing is, why is it bothering that person to for me? My internet is unstable. Okay, why is it bothering that person that he wants to know my past, which is more important than he or she being in the present with me, which actually is important.
No, when you tend to share the values, the other person gets very inquisitive about who was it, how long was it, all the details. They because human curious nature comes in.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. See, it depends on the person, depends on the comfortability that you have, depends on the trust that you build in during the growth of your relationship. A lot of factors are actually playing a role there. So if you're in a relationship for 20 years and the guy asks, tell me about your past, then yeah, go ahead, you can share, it doesn't affect. But if the person is judging you or giving an opinion based on your past, then I would say that's no use of sharing the past. Like someone in the chat has mentioned, don't discuss about the past. I mean, who has shared that? I think Pramod has shared that. Yeah, don't dig into the past incidents, don't blame each other, and look for the betterness. I mean, you have a lot of life to be together and find more memories. Go to some places like uh, Seychelles or Maldives. Find some places. Why do you want some
Why
past
beach?
to
For
linger
marriage?
around you?
Why beach again?
I love beaches. I love beaches. I've been in Pondicherry for 2 years. I've been in Papatla for 4 years. I love beaches. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Hope this session is
Yeah, so
was
we would like to hear from the other participants. You've been extremely silent. That scares us. So could you just maybe make some comments, maybe your takeaway or any questions that you have or any suggestions that you have for us or any comments on Mouni Sharon, on his intellect, so anything. We are open.
I am no intellect. Okay,
Oh my God, it's 2 hours.
is
Okay,
it?
I have
That
something to
means he's
say.
very clear.
I'm
Hi
not sure.
Anju. Anju, I didn't
Hi.
see you. Sorry.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm doing good.
Okay,
How about you?
I'm well too. Thank you. Okay, so I just joined in the middle. So I'm sorry I missed out the first few slides. One question would be, I have uh, I have something to say as well, but I'll ask the question first. Is it possible to
Mhm.
share the slides?
Yeah, I can give that to you.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
perfect. Great. I'll give all credit to the writer of the slides, so the creator,
Yeah, the bibliography is
Mouni
uh,
Sharon.
no. I have gone through a lot of books. One book is Relationship by John C. Maxwell. One-on-one relationship by John C. Maxwell. I have gone through
Right.
I Isaac Take the Rebecca by Ravi Zacharias, and
Oh, okay.
also When Sorry Is Not Enough by Gary Chapman, who actually
Yeah.
wrote the same book, Five Love Languages.
Yeah.
So these are a couple of books, and I have gone through the website, some psychiatrists websites
Great.
to actually know the mental status of the person in a relationship.
Yeah.
These are authentic findings from the
Sure.
counselors themselves. So yeah.
That's
Okay.
very humble
That's
of
great. Thank
yourself.
you so much for all the. Yeah. Honestly, thanks a lot for
Praise
all the
God
work.
for providing so much material.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so one
Yeah.
thing I think, just learning out of past experience, I think one thing I'm learning still, but learned strongly, is it takes two hands to clap. So in any, so a relationship is like that. I don't think anybody can, or at least I can speak for myself. I can never actually say in a failed relationship it's always my fault or it's always the other person's fault. um, it's it could be one event.
Sorry. I think. Yeah. Tell me.
All right, so I think it always takes two hands to clap. So um, there has to be a sense of understanding also when the other person might be going through something, or we might be going through something. We expect understanding. So I'm learning now that whatever we expect from, like when you told us, when you suggested that we write down what are the things that we like to see in somebody else, when we have those things, I think it's best if we first apply those lists to ourselves and see if we are being that person first. And I think that makes a more mature relationship than than taking than going into emotional decisions and emotional discussions and fits of anger and stuff.
Hmm.
um, and it's the other thing, which is a very obvious thing, which I think all of us here, if not most of the people in this world, have, is 2 ears and one tongue. So definitely we should be listening twice as much as we speak. It's very easy to talk, it's very easy to give opinions and advice, but exactly, listening shows respect. So we definitely need to listen twice as more much. For me, it's all the more difficult because I love talking. So for those of us who love talking, whether girls or guys, imagine how much more we have to listen, like twice as much we have to listen. uh,
Hmm. I think
because
Tina knows better. I'm just joking.
let's hear
Yeah. Tell
that
me.
from
You're talking about talking or listening?
Talking. Yeah. Tell me.
um,
Okay, I have
yeah,
something to
that's
say
it.
rather than ask.
Hmm.
Say for
Anju, are you
example,
done? Sorry, Shirley.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, no problem.
yes,
Okay.
I'm done, that
You
was
done?
it. Yeah, thanks.
I committed myself to a guy